Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name's Janos, and today I'm going to be sharing my opinions on Hulu's brand new adult animated comedy series, Solar Opposites, from Rick and Morty co-creator Justin Roiland and writer and producer Mike McMahon. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, and if you're coming back, thank you so much for supporting the channel. By the way, this video will not contain spoilers, and I'll only be using clips from the official trailers. Now with that out of the way, don your ceremonial Schlorpian robes, grab yourself a pupa, and let's get started. Solar Opposites follows a family of 4 aliens from a planet called Schlorp, who crash-landed in the suburbs of America after escaping their homeworld as it was destroyed by a meteor. The group includes 2 adults, Corvo and Terry, and 2 children, or rather replicas, Yumulak and Jesse. Corvo, the most intelligent of the 4, is tasked with repairing their damaged spaceship, while Terry, arguably the least intelligent, is supposed to care for and protect the pupa, though he's not super good at his job. The pupa, by the way, is a living supercomputer who, after growing to maturity, will supposedly consume all life on Earth before terraforming the planet. And the replicas don't appear to have any jobs, they just kinda go to school and learn about humans. Now we're not going to be able to talk about this series without comparing it to Rick and Morty, and honestly it makes sense to do so. Aesthetically, you really could mistake them for the same show. The character art is basically identical. The line thickness, minimal use of shading, facial features, and stylized pupils are all exactly the same. Like, you could easily trade characters back and forth between these series and never even notice. The background art is also very similar. Now Rick and Morty is a pretty good looking show, so it's not necessarily a bad thing that Solar Opposites shares its art style, but I can't exactly praise it for that either. I always just prefer to see variety from creators, and I think Solar Opposites was a bit of a missed opportunity in that regard. In terms of writing, I actually think the series differ quite a bit. In setup alone, Rick and Morty showcases humans exploring alien environments, essentially the familiar reacting to the unfamiliar, while Solar Opposites is basically the inverse, aliens exploring human environments, or the unfamiliar reacting to the familiar. This premise works well because it can turn mundane situations into interesting ones, simply by looking at them through the eyes of outsiders who don't understand them. Things like going to school or having a man cave can be used as sources of comedy, because the characters in those situations don't know how they should react. The comedic tone of Solar Opposites is similar to Rick and Morty, but with less hints of nihilism and more general silliness. Solar Opposites feels more like a parody of a sitcom. It doesn't try to have the depth explored in some parts of Rick and Morty. Not that that's a bad thing. The characters are also very different. Even though Corvo and Terry have a bit of a Rick and Morty thing going on, what with Corvo being a genius and Terry being a bit of an idiot, it's not to the extent that they feel the same. Corvo is way less competent than Rick, and far more insecure. He also craves fame and attention in a way that Rick doesn't. And although Terry is dumb, he has far more agency than Morty, and is a much more confident and less spazzy character. The family as a whole is also brought together by a genuine and obvious affection for each other. We don't have that kind of broken family vibe that we get in Rick and Morty. Even though these characters are all very different and butt heads in basically every episode, it's clear that they care about each other, and kinda just feel like a normal family. So I think that's all I need to say in terms of comparing the 2 series. Basically, although Solar Opposites shares similarities with Rick and Morty, I believe the 2 are sufficiently different. Though that said, if you like one, you probably will like the other. Now I'd like to take a look at Season 1 of Solar Opposites purely on its own merits. First off, I really like our cast of characters. I don't think any one of them really stole the show, as they each bring something unique to the table. Terry and Jesse both really like Earth, and tend to see the best of humanity, while Corvo and Yumulak believe the opposite. Since most of the character interaction we get is between Corvo and Terry, or Yumulak and Jesse, the 4 always balance each other out nicely. The pupa, in my opinion, was a bit too much of a background character in this first season though. Most of the time, the pupa will go on its own side adventures rather than interact with the others. Additionally, despite the main priority of the group supposedly being to protect it, I never got the sense that they felt the pupa was important. This to me was a bit of a letdown, as I felt that having a mission they took seriously would balance well with all the silliness. In terms of plot, the show seems to be less concerned with having a large, overarching story, and more with having fun and making jokes. The series feels mostly episodic, but it does maintain continuity, and the last few episodes gave me the impression that more development is in store next season. One of my favorite aspects of the show was actually a season-long subplot involving tiny humans. I'm not going to give a lot of details about it to avoid spoilers, but its semi-serious story was a nice contrast to all the silliness happening in the main plot, and gave us a great sense of progression, even though nothing was really changing with our main cast. The episodes are all interesting and funny in their own way. From enrolling in a human college to running for president of the Homeowners Association, each episode lightly satirizes different aspects of our society, and pokes fun at various sitcom tropes we're all too familiar with. The series certainly doesn't take itself too seriously, but the way each character reacts naturally to whatever situation they're in grounds the show nicely and keeps it from going off the rails entirely. One of the very few complaints I have is in regards to the series intro. It's basically an Avatar: The Last Airbender style intro that explains the show's backstory before every episode. I didn't think it was necessary at all, to be honest, and it became a bit repetitive and dull after seeing it only a couple times. They tried to make it more interesting by adding a unique line of dialogue each time, which I did appreciate, but overall it still felt kind of pointless. I think just having a quick, few second long title sequence would have worked better, but it's also not a huge deal. In conclusion, Solar Opposites does share similarities with its predecessor Rick and Morty, but differentiates itself significantly in terms of characters and writing. It's a light-hearted series that will constantly try to make you laugh through silly situations and a clueless cast. Its animation, though not unique, is pleasant to look at and does well to highlight the non-serious nature of the show. For fans of adult animation, I recommend the series as a nice, easy-to-watch experience. It's certainly nothing groundbreaking, but that doesn't make it any less entertaining. I'm very much looking forward to seeing where the show goes next season. And that'll about do it for this video. What did you guys think? Do you have a favorite character? Are you hoping to see more of the pupa next season? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, and if you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to leave a like, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. It would help out a lot and I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you all later.